and then we'll do our intros. I do wish that YouTube would do this automatically, but it doesn't anymore.
Yes, I didn't need to be dressed as stuff.
But oh well.
Yeah.
And then share to... No, don't direct message.
From hand to hand.
Tweet. That's the extent of my Twitter, for those that have tuned in a little bit early. Alright, and we are ready to go. So, what's up YouTube? It's Daniel the Ultimate Blade here, back again once again with a new series, a new podcast we are starting called Press Square to Respawn. I'm here with my co-host. Would you like to sound off?
What it do, my G's? Nah, I'm joking. Just doing that to make Dan laugh. What's good, YouTube? Daniel Ultimate Form here, back again once again. And as Dan said it, we are here with some new flavour today. Today's flavour of the week is everything gaming.
As the episode title says, for all of those past, present and future, well, not past, that's impossible, present and future, too much information has been dropped for us to handle, so we're going to try and handle it.
In all fairness, this is probably like half of summer just today.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, we've kind of been a bit lackluster on the ball.
Yeah, it took long enough. Now
Yeah,
the stuff is all
definitely.
loose.
Life gets
Everyone's
in the
got-
way, and lockdown gets in the way.
Yeah.
But I digress. Enough of the negative. On with the positive. So we've got lots of stuff to cover today, and we are starting with Gamescom. Lan, do you have any interesting history about Gamescom for us?
Gamescom was so long ago, dude.
It really was.
Gamescom was a long time ago.
We're really behind the ball on this one.
Yeah, Gamescom pretty much bookmarked everything that happened. Gamescom was the start. Well, Gamescom happens normally before E3. We get little bits dusted in there, and then all the big stuff kind of comes out at E3. So, like, Gamescom this year was kind of used to announce anything for the current generation of consoles going forward till the end of the year. So we got announcements for games that are coming out fairly recently, like the new Marvel's Avengers game, which is now out.
And trash.
Loads of smaller titles that have already been released as of the recording of this, and not really much in terms of looking forward. But that kind of did change, like the week or two afterwards, because then Sony and Microsoft literally threw the gauntlet down, with Nintendo sitting in the bush somewhere like, hey, just wait till I come up and show you guys what for. And Nintendo did. As of this week, they did. So
They really did.
It
But
really did.
that's something we'll touch on this episode as well. This will be probably an extra long one, just so we can get on top of everything before anything else happens. Like the Tokyo Game Show, which is soon, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to get everything done today, so we're ready and fresh with that, and then we can hopefully release one of these around that time as well, so it's actually relevant.
Yes, we're again, very behind the ball. We were waiting for David, but another member of our small cohort for this is also David, a fresh voice to lend on this. So let's just think about David for a moment. David would have come with his own things that he wanted to talk about, but we're gonna have to forego that for now. We're only gonna give you small snapshots of what's going on because there's so much we can't actually go over everything. So in the future we'll be a bit more comprehensive about our thoughts and feelings about stuff, because there'll be three of us to kind of talk about. Three's a nice size, but Lead us, Dan. Lead us.
Well-
Lead us in prayer.
So, for Gamescom, we all chose 2 games that are of interest to us for the future and everything of what we might actually want to actually go out there and play. So, I've started with 2. So, I've got Space Crew, which is basically Star Trek Simulator, but a joke. If that makes any sense. It's basically comedy Star Trek. Yeah?
Think,
Sort of thing.
what's it called? I forgot what the show's called. I forgot to write it down earlier today. Orwell?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Orwell?
I think
That's
so.
what it's called. And, I want to say it's Red something?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
I'm sure someone watching, like Dave, would probably be watching this in the future, like, oh, I know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
but he wasn't here to back us up.
Yeah. Shame on you, David. Shame on you.
So yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
It really
But
does.
Dan will explain what the game is first.
So basically, it's like a space sort of simulator with like a comedy sort of style and everything. So like in the trailer that we saw them get into like a massive fight with aliens and everything, and the captain just abandoned them all and just left his crew to die and then had a whole new crew to sort of go out with. So in a way, it reminds me very much of a roguelike sort of thing, with that permadeath sort of feature. Apart from the permadeath isn't with you, it's with your crew instead.
Hey, if everyone's a red shirt, they can all go. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's expendable. But it also reminds me a lot of FTL as well. If you ever played that, Faster Than Light.
I didn't play it, but I have. One of my colleagues at work is quite fond of it.
So it very much reminds me of FTL sort of thing, where you're doing missions and everything and exploring the universe. But that's about all we got from sort of like Space Crew. I also think, by the looks of it, I think I saw it on like a website, that it also has multiplayer, which I think is going to be very interesting. I've been dropped right in front of a Tempered Dawn to get on.
I'm gonna have to come and then save you.
Is this master rank or high rank?
It's high rank.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm not scared now. But that's all we sort of had from Space Crew and everything.
Basil geese.
But that game, it looks like a lot of fun. It just looks like a laugh, and that's something we're missing a lot of lately. Games that are just pure fun and just fun to play. There are a lot of games out there which go for a lot of monetization and everything and just aren't really that fun, but this just looks plain and simple. In fact, I'll probably buy it on my Switch just because it looks like something I could have fun with on my Switch. I think it's the perfect game for that sort of thing. What do you think, Lan?
Totally agreed. We've seen a lot of titles as of recently. Well, as of recently, I mean, loads of things like Among Us and Fall Guys have become very popular as of recently because of their simplicity in the time that we're currently in. And I'm wholeheartedly behind games with such simplicity, because sometimes we don't need these really big, expensive games. Yeah. This is why I'm excited for games like Bug Snacks. It's a child's game, but because of its simplicity, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it just sort of lures you sort of towards it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But moving on,
sentient food animals.
Yeah. What else could you want? What else could you want, really? But moving on from that to the other side of the spectrum, we have Star Wars Squadrons. Now, basically what Star Wars Squadrons is, it's published by EA, so we all know how much we hate EA. And everything that they do of late. But Star Wars Squadrons actually looks really good. So, gimmick with Star Wars Squadron. It's the space simulator. Well, it's the flight simulator of Star Wars that we've probably wanted ever since next gen sort of hit. And everything. So it's also got story mode as well, which I am looking forward to having a playthrough of that.
Other Star Wars games have, well, unless it was a story-based game like Fallen Order, have tried to do it. So Battlefront did try to do it. Oh, I forgot to brace for that.
To be fair, Battlefront did it really well, and I think they were using the same engine from Battlefront 2 on it, which is good because the flight simulation on that and everything, and the sort of like combat you get is really good. It's really smooth and everything, and basing a whole game on that and expanding on it is pure genius.
Now, some part of me wants EA to take the Star Trek license and give me that with Star Trek.
Oh,
Please.
just I'd be so happy. I would be so incredibly happy if that was a thing. You never know, it might be one day. The developers,
Star Trek games now.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But oh well.
Wow, I killed him.
Oh dear, it's dead. Things do die very quickly lately, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
But more on Star Wars Squadrons, story-wise, and this is spoiler warning for those that don't want to know any details about the story at all. So you have been warned, turn away now, if you don't want to hear any sort of details. They're very minimal if... Anyway. But we are going for like a two-phased approach of a two-phase sort of story of where you're playing as the good guys and the bad guys' point of view as well. So that's the sort of thing that they're going for with the story of having two pilots go off against each other, which I could think could make a very interesting dynamic, especially in terms of stuff like dialogue as well, because believe it or not, I think dialogue really makes a game like this, especially if they're pulling like quips at each other and everything, like insulting each other constantly. I just think that'd be hilarious. What do you think, Lan?
There is a big push especially since Jedi Fallen Order, for story-driven Star Wars games, and because most of these, because Lucasfilm are in, I wouldn't say they're in problems because of the sequel trilogy, but they have a very particular
And I'm really hoping you're not going to charge at us.
Lan, I think we lost you. Oh, Lan's running down there. Oh,
Okay.
did your controller
Sorted.
die?
Okay.
I've made you.
I think so, momentarily.
Anyway,
I
carry
must
on,
sound like a
Lan.
robot. Oh, he's rolling back. Alright.
We see him rolling.
They're in a very particular position when it comes to their alternative media and giving the fans the stories that they haven't been able to tell as of yet. So, not to divert too far, if we take the books in particular, they're releasing the High Republic, which would be probably the next best thing to getting the Old Republic games and such, but it's what the fans really want in terms of diversity of storytelling and so on and so forth. And just like, my opinion would be to take that as like backlash from the sequel trilogy, and then I'd push that ideology towards the games. But that's all I will say about that, because then I'll be here for like the next 3,000 years. And I don't want to be here for the next 3,000 years, to be honest.
Yeah, and neither do I, to be honest. It's just like, I love you, Lan, but I don't think I could listen to you for that long. It's just like...
Yeah, sure.
I think everyone has their limits of that. But, moving on from that and everything, onto more sort of Star Wars Squadrons sort of stuff. We're getting multiplayer as well, which is always good. It's just like, because it gives the game a little bit more longevity, and everything, as long as it's done right. Now, according to EA, and this is a statement directly from them, this game will have no microtransactions. If that's true, that's another thing altogether. But if they're going down that route of having no microtransactions, then I'm all for it. Maybe they might go down the way of sort of like story DLC instead, which I think makes sense. Especially for
preferred.
a game like that. But that's all we really have on Star Wars Squadrons until it comes out, really. They've been quite secretive on it, I think. Which, to be fair, I think being secretive about this sort of stuff does build hype. Because people don't know what's going to happen. It does build hype,
but what it does is it allows them to kind of take their time with it. So it's not so much... One of the issues with gaming recently is that division between giving the making the hype and then
delivering on it.
And then actually delivering on it, because as we've had in numerous conversations, even on my channel, when I did my Anthem discussion, it was one of those things that we were told loads of things about the game, but then we were more concerned about the game rather than excited for it.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
So,
but I feel us not knowing a lot has definitely given them a bit more of an advantage and everything. Let's just hope that they deliver. Because, unfortunately, and I hate to be Mr. Negative, it is EA.
Yes.
And
they had one good
reputation.
They had one good egg in Fallen Order. They have to kind of keep that momentum, because they very much won over the majority of casual players with the fact that they were able to produce that game and publish it, and people loved it.
Let's just hope they can keep up their momentum without sort of going
about me
too far with it. I didn't even know you weren't here. Where are you?
I'm trying to keep him a bit occupied.
Basil.
I'm on green. Yes, but I'm on green sharpness, and that's not good.
Yeah, you might want to get down here soon anyway, because I reckon I'm about to kill this thing, to be fair.
Capture it then.
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. Well, I'll wait until it's actually proper limping. And then I'll try and capture it. But that's all we have on Star Wars Fallen Order. And Lan, you have two games to bring to the table.
You mean Squadron, don't you?
Squadrons. Met Squadrons, oh my god. Getting all my words mixed up today.
We're getting Fallen Order 2, so I'm glad someone's excited about that.
Yeah.
Ow, you killed it. You killed it.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell in high rank, to be honest. Especially, to be fair, you'll get here in time. It's 60 seconds. You've got plenty of time. All you got to do is slide down. You'll be fine. I have life powders.
I'm on fire.
Here you go. Life powder. You're fine.
There we go. Cool. Thank you. So we can move on to my two games, but before we talk about my two games, you might as well, seeing as David is not here, mention the two games David was going to discuss.
Yes.
Those were Iron Harvest, which I have no clue what it is, and Ghost Runner, which looks like a futuristic, even more futuristic Mirror's Edge, but with swords.
Which looks cool.
But yeah, it's really cool.
Now,
so the two games I would like to put on the table. Sorry, Dan, what was that?
Now, Iron Harvest, I do have a little bit of information on to divulge for people that are wondering what it actually is. It's
Let's do that first.
It's an RTS game. So it's a real-time strategy game set back in like the olden days and everything, but like an alternative history, sort of thing with like mechs and the battle suits and stuff. So it actually looks really cool. But that's all the information I have on that sort of thing. That's what I've looked at.
Fair enough.
So that gives you guys a little bit of an insight if you want to have a Google of it, if it is of interest. But I shall.
Which does remind me that I forgot to say, if you go over to my YouTube channel, which hopefully should be in Dan's description, there is a playlist of pretty much everything that was shown off at Gamescom. Pretty chunky playlist. I don't think Dan watched it at all.
I did a little bit. It's just like I mainly went for the games I was I was actually interested in, but I couldn't look at all of that. I'm driving myself mad.
I would have to go. I need to go through it and clean it up. But just a little shameless plug. Thought I might say it. So the two games that I'm bringing to the table is Scarlet Nexus, which is thankfully also being released on PS4. Also, I think PC as well. Which is lucky for me because I like my anime games. And of course, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Off of Nexus, I know in a previous podcast somewhere else on the internet, I did talk about Scarlet Nexus and my intrigue. It is if anyone has a Switch and happens to have played Astral Chain by Platinum Games, you're kind of looking at that kind of vein of action RPG. As of Gamescom and the recent interviews, they state the developers stated that the game is brain punk because we're in the age of cyberpunk. Why not have a bit of brain punk on that too? So we got character profiles, character names, character powers. So if you're interested in Scarlet Nexus, head over to the Twitter, and the Twitter has all that information on there if you're really intrigued in the characters and the world and what's going on there. But the main character, whose name escapes me at this current moment in time, is a psychokinetic. There's been loads of people who have had time to watch gameplay and had gameplay explained to them, and then subsequently I've watched them, and they have they said a lot. And I'm not going to say all of it here because really and truly go out and do your own research as well. But we play as human beings who have special powers along the lines of psychokinesis, pyrokinesis, so on and so forth. And those people those people with special powers make up a unique group whose name also escapes me, to fight the Other. And the Other are creatures that come from a separate dimension that can only be fought off by those with special powers. The Scarlet Nexus, as the title is in the game, is an actual thing in-game. And if you look at the trailers and stuff for the game that came out recently, you'll notice that the main character has these red cables that come out of his back, and they're meant to symbolize his connection to other people. In terms of other support characters that you can bring along during the course of the game. One of them they showed her. I think her name is Hanami. She's a pyrokinetic, and with the power of the Scarlet Nexus, the main character can borrow her pyrokinetic abilities. I'm not too sure on the details of the story as a whole as of yet, but it looks to be the opening salvo on the next gen console of action RPG games, and I'm really excited for it because it's got that anime aesthetic, that flashy combat, and weird and wacky characters, and character designs. So when that art book for that game comes out, I'm definitely buying it.
For a bit of background there, Lan loves his art books.
Yeah, like, I bought two more, Dan.
What have you bought this time?
I bought the Monster Hunter art book, and trust me, that is bigger than your leg.
Oh my god. And I have long legs.
I bought you have very long legs, Dan. And I bought the Ghost of Tsushima art book, which I haven't actually looked at yet.
Sound like two very interesting art books.
The Ghost of Tsushima one is exactly as I expected it to be. Really big pages of just scenery and the scenery design, and really nice close-up art renditions as well as 3D models of the characters as well. It is phenomenal. And sorry to go on a small tangent, but the back pages are like storyboards for particular scenes in the game. But you know how they talked about in Ghost of Tsushima, they had this the samurai movie aesthetic.
Yeah.
And you can see it from the storyboards. But I'll start gushing about this book if I carry on. I only had a quick flick through it, but I'll start gushing. The book is phenomenal.
If you want, Lamb, we can dedicate a whole episode to you just gushing about art books if you want.
You don't
More
want me
than
to
happy
do
to do that.
You don't want me to do that.
Oh dear.
I had my Ironside charm on this entire time. Crap. Okay, wagon up.
Oh dear. You couldn't make that up.
Next. No, I'm literally running longsword and having a guard charm on.
Oh god. Wow.
Anyhow. Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself.
Carry on, my friend.
Okay, so the next game I want to talk about is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Some interesting things about that game going all around in terms of a lot of things. To be actually frank with you, first of all, the game looks beautiful. The game was made primarily for the PS5 to make use of those SSDs that sit in that hardware and the power of the hardware. If you don't know what Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is, if you don't want to be spoiled, obviously don't listen to this, leave or skip ahead, but it'll probably be about 3-4 minutes, maybe even less. So this game is not a sequel to the remake game that they made a few years ago. And to be honest, that game wasn't exactly a commercial success. Anyhow, it does take place after Into the Nexus. As a result of the events of Into the Nexus, Dr. Nefarious managed to get his hands on the Dimensionator, which was a Lombax device. If you want, I guess I could probably spoil it. Do you mind, Dan?
Go for it.
So, just like to recap Into the Nexus a little bit, because like most of the main story points don't really... No, not Into the Nexus. My bad. A Crack in Time. Crack in Time. Into the Nexus comes after Crack in Time. Sorry, almost messed that one up. So, A Crack in Time is the direct link, but it takes place after the events of Into the Nexus. So, after Crack in Time, Dr. Nefarious comes away with the wreckage of the Dimensionator as a result of Ratchet's conflict with... I forgot his name. The last Cragmite. And decides that he wants to take over the world using the Dimensionator. As shown off in the gameplay demo that we got, I think, at Gamescom, Ratchet accidentally damages the Dimensionator, which causes the rifts in between dimensions. So, if you need to catch up on what's been going on with Ratchet and Clank, I would first suggest playing the Ratchet and Clank future games in their entirety, which is A Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, and I always forget the first game.
I can't even remember what the first game is.
I can't even remember. It's been so long since I played them. Like, I only remember Quest for Booty because the title is hilarious.
It really is. It's just like I was tempted to make so many jokes about it, man. It's just I remember the whole mess back.
Yeah, but they've always loved their double entendres with the names. They kind of stopped with Into the Nexus, but it's still one. But it's not as rough. And it was once called the Future Trilogy, but Into the Nexus technically is the fourth game in that set of games. So play those 4 games for the Future Trilogy and then Into the Nexus, and you'll get a holistic understanding of what happened. And then a Rift Apart is the next stage of Ratchet and Clank's journey. They've marketed it very heavily to use the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback on the new DualSense controller, which is one way to market the system and its components holistically, which I appreciate. But it's an opportunity for us to get an old school Ratchet and Clank feel. Don't get me wrong, the remake was good, but you can only build on top of it because what the remake did was rehash a lot of things that we'd experienced up until that point. I think I'm good for that. I think that's enough for now. I'm just excited for Ratchet and Clank in general because it's a long time. It's a long time since I've been invested in such a franchise for so long in terms of video games. And if they decide, if the great gaming gods decide they want to go and actually do Sly Cooper, I am ready for it.
Agreed. Totally agree. Lan, because it's Ratchet and Clank, and I know you do it so well, and you love it, Mr. Zarkon.
Ooh,
Go on, you gotta do
punch
it.
you in the face with bullets.
There we go. For those that don't know, Lan does a great Mr. Zarkon voice and just loves all of his lines.
His voice lines are ridiculous. Like, he's mean. If you go back and play, I think he's in Quest for Booty. The final upgrade is Zircon Family. Zircon Jr. is my favorite guy, man. He's my favorite. Little demon.
Definitely, new Ratchet and Clank looks incredible. Like, I want it, so it's just like it just looks incredible and just looks like so much fun.
I want them to show us more.
See, I want them to show us more, but I also don't want them to show us more at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, I like the mystery as well. Like, that's a thing that we don't have a lot with video games lately, is a bit of mystery. And this is the Destiny 2 problem. This is the problem they had this year with Destiny 2. Is they wanted to be upfront about what we were getting, but at the same time, that mystery wasn't there.
Yes.
And I think that's a vital part of these sorts of games, is the mystery. Sometimes they just tell us a bit too much.
Okay, Dan, you can move back to your normal weapon now.
Oh, we're back in Master. Oh no.
Yes.
Yeah, going back to my normal weapon, definitely. Yep, absolutely. Yep, definitely. But that's all we have for Gamescom. As Lan said, his channel link is in my description, which has all of the it will have all of the videos about Gamescom, which he'll clean that playlist up a little bit, and you can have a look around that if you want to look at anything specific. But we're going to move on, because if we don't, we'll be here forever talking about Gamescom, and then we'll be irrelevant again, probably, because of it. Moving swiftly on to our next topic. Let me just get it up quickly, because it's disappeared from my phone. Mario's
35th anniversary.
Well,
35th.
he is old, dude. He is old. But everyone loves a bit of Mario. It's just, you can't go wrong with a good Mario game, in my opinion. What do you think, Lam?
Agreed. I'm a bit bored of it myself, if I'm totally honest. But I do like what Nintendo has decided to do to devote to 35 years of their iconic character. And when I say iconic, Mario is so iconic, Japan wanted to use him as one of the mascots for their Olympics that would have taken place this year. That's how big the character is. Let me just put that in perspective for you. That's how big Mario is as a gaming icon.
So this year, and some of next year, they're celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary with a slew of things. It's just like loads of stuff is coming out. The first thing we'll mention, and I have a copy of it myself because I'm a dirty Mario whore and I can't help it, is Super Mario 3D All-Stars. In Super Mario 3D All-Stars, we have the original Super Mario 64, which is in 720p, which is resolution for those that are watching. I have no clue what I'm talking about, which is quite a significant upgrade from the original, which I think was like 240p.
Someone booted
About,
I think it
yeah,
was something like
thereabouts.
that. At a steady 30 frames per second as well, which is quite nice to have, so no one will stuttering around. And then we have Super Mario Sunshine, which was originally on the GameCube, which comes in a HD at 1080p. It's at 1080p at 30 frames per second. As well, which is good as well, because that game has a lot going on in it, and on the Switch, it looks absolutely beautiful. Like, you thought the original game looked good. Now with this upgrade that Nintendo have done, it looks absolutely beautiful. And one of my favourites, Super Mario Galaxy. Now, they've done a lot with Super Mario Galaxy, so that runs at a steady 60 frames per second in 1080p as well. So it hasn't had as much of an upgrade as the other two had, but that's because it was a recent title on the Wii. I think its original resolution was 720p. I think it was that. And it kind of stuttered quite a lot because there had quite a lot going on. It was a big game, a lot was going on in that. It was early in the Wii's sort of life cycle as well, so they weren't quite used to using all of that new powerful tech. Well, I say powerful tech, it was the Wii, but it was good. It was good. It was a step up from the GameCube. Not much of a step up, but it was a step up. But that's what we have for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. We have those three games upscaled, and it's not just a simple port. As a lot of people thought it was going to be. They've made a lot of improvements to it. Now, one of the negative things about that game is no Super Mario Galaxy 2, and that makes me sad.
In all fairness, isn't Super Mario Galaxy 2 basically like what P5R is to P5?
Kind of, but they have a lot of new different levels and everything, and a lot of iconic moments from it and everything. So it's actually quite a shame that's missing from the trilogy of games. I feel it's a missed opportunity, but there's a lot of rumours going around that Nintendo might be planning something for Galaxy 2 eventually, which will be good. Lan, what is your history with those games?
So, I've played all of them. As I said, I'm not exactly the biggest Mario fan in the universe. But I'm not too fussed about playing them again. If I'm to be totally honest, because that time in my gaming career is kind of past, and I'm okay with it. I don't even have a Switch at the moment, so I can't play it if I wanted to.
Which is fair enough. It's just like not everyone has a Switch yet, unlike yours truly. But yeah, I get where you're coming from there. And everything. It's just like, yeah, you can still say some of it has passed a little bit for some people, but it's good to have all of those games on the Switch, especially since Super Mario Sunshine gets such a big upgrade as well. But if you had to pick, Lan, which one of them would be your favourite game of choice?
Super Mario Galaxy, without much discussion. I never really enjoyed Sunshine, if I'm honest. I didn't like I didn't like Flood. Me and Flood weren't friends. I found back in the day the controls were really janky. And the camera didn't help.
Yeah, especially because it was inverted as well. You didn't have any option to actually change it. Which is strange, but now they've reversed that. So now it's not inverted anymore. Which is weird, going from someone that played the GameCube original. I keep making all sorts of mistakes on that at the moment, but that's just hilarious in my opinion. But moving on from Super Mario 3D All-Stars, because there isn't a lot to talk about there. It's really good and it's really interesting business practice, especially with that limited run thing as well. I'm not quite sure what Nintendo's trying to do with that personally.
Some people are a little annoyed with with that, to be honest, but I personally can get behind it insofar that you make those things full experiences. which is Nintendo generally is pretty good at doing.
Yeah, oh definitely, and it kind of makes it special as well. It's just like, I've got a physical copy of 3D All Stars sort of thing. I guess it does make it special, which is something that I think Nintendo are very good at doing. But moving on from Mario 3D All Stars, we have another game that's 3D as well, that's been remade, being re-released on the Switch, which is Super Mario 3D World. Now, Super Mario 3D World was originally out on the Wii U. It was a 3D sort of like, 2.5D. It was more 2.5D than anything. And it was like a co-op sort of party game in a way. It was very much a party game, I feel. But with that sort of platforming elements.
The way they structured the
especially with the crowd as well.
Yeah. They made it so it was a couch co-op kind of thing you do with your family.
That also probably tears families apart. But that's what Mario games do.
Not as much as Wii Bowling and Mario Kart.
Oh god, don't get me started.
I can't tell you how many times my dad had got a triple strike, and me and my dad weren't friends for like a good few days.
And there's also the Mario Party formula as well, which I don't play Mario Party with anyone that I want to remain friends with, because I know it's just going to ruin my friendship with them. I just know that for a fact. But the new sort of like, I'm not sure what to call it, a remake or enhanced version. I think it's more of an enhanced version, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's an enhanced version on the Switch with a new expansion as well on it, which I think looks quite interesting, and I kind of like that Nintendo's doing that. Is giving us a bit extra content for these sorts of games and everything. And something that I saw was quite interesting on there as well, is on the cover, if you look closely, it has online capability.
Nice.
Which could mean playing Super Mario 3D World on the Switch over voice chat. I just think that's genius. I think it'll sell a lot of copies just because of that, especially if they bundle it with Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, I think that's something Nintendo is definitely considering. Because one of the other things that they're doing with all this Mario stuff, and when I say a lot of Mario stuff,
there's a lot of Mario stuff.
Yeah, just to show you the tip of the iceberg. They are doing like any game that has any sort of functionality that allows it to have something Mario themed is doing it. So Splatoon is doing it, Ninjala is doing it, everything is doing it. They are throwing Mario to the wolves, but that's a good thing because the wolves want it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think we'll be getting some more Mario announcements over the next couple of months as well. I think there's still stuff they have planned.
If they tell me Mario Odyssey 2, I'm actually going to be a little bit not okay with that.
And why is that?
Because I didn't enjoy Mario Odyssey.
Oh yeah, that's true. But moving on from that and everything, that looks like a great game, and I know I'm going to have a great time playing it because I love 3D World. It was one of my favourite games on the Switch. By far was 3D World. But moving on from that to our last game in sort of like the Mario trilogy of things that they've released and everything, is Super Mario Brothers 35.
Yes.
What do you think about this, man? I want to hear your opinion.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous if you really want my honest opinion. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard any company do. And as ridiculous as it is, it seems like a bit of fun.
Yep. I totally agree. Like, I'm actually looking forward to playing it. Like, I don't like battle royale sort of games or that sort of formula, but this actually looks generally quite a bit of fun, huh? Especially if you can get people in the same sort of lobby on voice chat and just dick over your friends. I just think that could be such a laugh, huh? And
whoever came up with the concept, I rate you. I really do, because you came up with something very unique.
And especially having it limited time as well, and exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online players as well. That's just going to bump up subscriptions even more.
For those who don't have it already.
Yeah, and that's just marketing genius in my opinion. Like, if they've done anything well with the Switch, it's the marketing. Like the Wii U.
I mean, coronavirus helped.
Oh, definitely, because when coronavirus hit, you can get a Switch for love or life. Like, they were out of stock everywhere. Like, it was very rare to find one. I was shocked if I ever found one, to be honest. But moving on from that, we do have a few little small Mario announcements, which I'll just touch on a little bit here as well. We have that Mario Kart toy sort of thing.
Oh, so if you ever wanted to play Mario Kart IRL in your living room with your friends, now you can.
And to be fair, I think it has its market. It's a good idea.
So I don't know if the viewers have seen this thing, so let's assume that they haven't, and explain what it is.
So basically, it's a Mario Kart toy, and it connects to the Switch, and you can sort of make your own courses in your living room using markers and everything, and basically drive around with the toy itself through this virtual physical track sort of thing.
So just to remark, it's not just a toy. They are RC cars.
Yeah.
They are RC cars. This is the point of it. And if I may be mistaken, but I have a feeling that these Mario Kart RC cars is not a new thing. I feel like I've seen them before.
Yeah,
so
I think I have as well.
In that way, I feel like they're already adding to something they've already been doing, and they've been secretly setting up for this for a while. Like someone was like, "Oh, how about you have a Mario Kart RC cars?" And then this is the next evolution of that idea.
Yeah, totally agree. But to be fair, it looks. I think it definitely has its market, especially for kids as well, actually. And it's sort of relying on sort of that AR technology, which is augmented reality. Which, fair play to them. To be fair, if it funds more great games, then I'm all for it. For people that do want to buy it. Places have to make their money in and everything, and if this works for them, power to them, to be honest. At least they're not being scummy about it, which a lot of companies can do. What else do we have Mario-wise? We also have on the Nintendo Switch Online SNES online.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they do the 3D All Stars, and they're doing a 2D All Stars as well.
Yeah, well, the re-release.
The original 4 games, original 3 games.
4 games.
4 games.
That's 4 games.
4 games, yeah. So
including Lost
Mario...
Levels.
Yes. Oh, it's been ages since I played Lost Levels. Coming back.
This Oregon is getting aggressive, but that's on there as well. That was a little thing that they announced. You also got all the Splatoon stuff, which Land's already mentioned and everything, which is going to...
Hey, I like Splatoon. Sue me.
Yeah, that's fair. But I like Splatoon as well.
The Splatoon art book is phenomenal. Sorry, I'm joking. Oh god, Oregon, don't kill me. I know I spoke about
you do love your
already,
art books.
Hey man. They're the holy bible of creatives.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. But we'll leave Mario there because there are a lot of other small things as well, like a pair of shoes as well. But this is a gaming podcast, and I'm not going to get into a pair of shoes. Like, no, I'm not going to spend my money on that. So, not interested. But that's there if you want to have a look at it, which is fair enough. next on our agenda is, and this is all things Nintendo again as well. They just had a partner showcase, and they showed.
Can I preface this beforehand?
Yes.
So, because E3 was cancelled this year, obviously many things went awry. June was not exactly the month we expected it to be in terms of gaming news. Everything kind of started later, as we said before. Gamescom kind of bookended the beginning of summer in that way. So what Nintendo decided to do, instead of having one singular presentation, they've been having a presentation every month, showing off not so much new things that is in store in terms of Nintendo moving forward with the Switch and how so on and so forth, even though we have rumors of such a thing happening, but more so showing off their partnerships in terms of their third party and indie titles. Nintendo's got a really good scheme when it comes to using their platform to display more indie games. Quite a lot of the Switch's library is actually indie games, which is wonderful. Don't get me wrong, it's really wonderful, and some of those games are really, really good. But these are very short presentations, 10 to 15 minutes, and they show a nice variety and host of different things. Some of them even showed some games while they've been in progression since the beginning of lockdown. This latest one for the month of September was far more of a surprise than we could handle.
Really was, like, information overload. It's just like
it's been a wacky day, because Sony had their had a showcase where they displayed, which we'll probably have to go talk about at some point in another episode, but they showed off the prices for the PS5, and it was that evening, and before we could even get time to rest and process all the information, Nintendo was like, I'm done hiding in the bush now, time to show you what I'm here for. And we got a Monster Hunter Direct,
which came out of nowhere.
There had been rumors for quite a while since they had announced, since before they had announced the last update for Monster Hunter Iceborne, which we're currently playing, and many of us in our Monster Hunter group had already thrown out suggestions for what it would have been, and we were right on both ends. Like, there wasn't really a bet, because both sides came out with the W, but we weren't very surprised as to what we got. And I want to have Dan talk about it first, because if I start, Dan would never say anything.
Yeah, that's probably true, to be honest. It's just like, if you know Lan, it's just like, I reckon if talking was an Olympic sport, he'd probably win the gold quite easily.
I win the platinum, fam.
That pure platinum, though.
Pure platinum, that wonderful 101 squeaky bum time play.
Indeedy. But we got two announcements. We got Monster Hunter Rise, which is like a new mainline sort of game, which we think takes place in the old world, which is theorized. But we also see a Toby Kadachi in there, which is from the new world, which throws that all up in the air.
But it is a 5th gen game. I think this is what's being stressed here. It is a 5th gen game.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to meld it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Got his face though. I'll meld the pallium. It's fine.
But anyway, it'll be very interesting to see where this game sort of comes off with, and it looks like it's taken the approach that World did with that open world sort of gameplay as well, and that structure, which will be interesting to see how the Switch handles it. Because we didn't really get a demonstration of that in Generations Ultimate, because it was a port, and they couldn't change it a lot, which makes sense. So it'll be interesting to see how the Switch handles that. And with that comes everyone's favourite cocaine, Amiibo.
Nintendo has not paused on the fact that Amiibo was a lovely idea, Wasn't really started by them. They kind of joined on the bandwagon when it came to things like Amiibo because of Skylanders and Disney Infinity. But I feel like Nintendo kind of edged in terms of the universal use of them.
Indeed. And I don't know about you, lad, but I kind of want all three of them.
Trying to fish to find the
I
They are
kind of want
wonderful.
all of them, and they
They're
look
actually really
beautiful.
nice. If they're anything like the last set of Amiibos that came out for Smash, that being, I think it was Joker. Did they make the Wonder Red one? Yes, they did. 'Cause it
They
came
did a
out
Wonder
for-
Red one.
I believe so.
I'll have to
I have
look
some
that.
faint idea that they made one, but they made a last set for the most recent that came out for Smash, which is Joker, Hero, and
I can't even remember who the last character was.
but those ones in terms of build quality and look are phenomenal. Probably the best ones yet.
Absolutely. And they just fit the aesthetic so well, and everything is a lot of love and care has been put into designing those and everything, which just looks wonderful. And it looks like that they'll have quite a lot of usage as well in terms of other games possibly in the future, which Amiibo does really well.
I didn't tell you. I'm pretty sure, and I'm like 80% sure on this because again, vivid image in my head. They actually made 2 Amiibos for the prequel to the game we're going to move on to after this. Pretty sure they did. I know they made. I know they made pop vinyls.
I think they
for
did.
Monster
I
Hunter,
think
and
they did. I think they did. I think I remember
I know they
seeing
made.
these.
I know they made pop vinyls for Monster Hunter when World came out, and it was the Feline, the Hunter, the Rathalos, and Zenoga. Because I have the last 2.
Yeah, makes
But
sense.
the Amiibos, something in my head tells me that they made the Amiibos for Ratha and the main character.
Yeah, I think they did actually. I think I remember seeing these. I think I remember seeing them. But gameplay-wise, to be fair, it looks really good. You got a lot of mobility and everything. I think they're definitely going with the title Rise, as in you're rising into the sky and everything and traversing all of this land and everything.
Yes.
They've been really
So,
specific, and also I can have a dog friend. I'm sold. I can have a doggo.
So this new game seems to be taking lots of cues from Monster Hunter World, as it should do. It looks like it's being made by part of the Monster Hunter World team, part of the team that basically maintains Generations. Because this is they report that the game is running off the RE engine. I don't know how many instances the RE engine has been used for anything other than Resident Evil, but if those 2 teams are using something that's in-house, the RE engine here in case, we have nothing to worry about in terms of build quality, assets, so on and so forth. It's just how the engine will now manage with the variety of skeletons for the different monster types. As Dan said, mobility seems to be the flavor of the week here, because Monster Hunter Rise, even though we don't exactly know where it takes place, the village and the armor that we see for the beginning of the game has a very big, very noticeable ninja, feudal Japan aesthetic, kind of like the home village for the Hunter. I can't remember which one it is now. It's gone out of my head. But it looks a lot like Yukumo Village, and Yukumo Village has a similar aesthetic, but more samurai rather than ninja. But the 2 are kind of interchangeable in that respect. And show we got a new flagship monster, Fanged Wyvern called Meg. I wrote this down. Oh gosh, phone, what are you doing? One sec.
Well, while Lan is looking at
Forgot what
that,
the name
I
was.
will keep you entertained. as you can see, my Palico is called Soul Eater.
Hi, sorry, I was just getting
My Palico in the next game will be called Soul Eater. And my dog will be called Soul Eater the dog.
Really?
Yep. Yep, you love it.
Soul Eater the dog.
Yep.
Why don't you just call it Face Stealer?
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, I kind of like that.
One eats souls, the other one steals people's faces.
Okay, yeah, well, that's set then. And for those that don't know, in Generations Ultimate, you can have 2 Palicos with you, and one as a Prowler, for when you play as a Palico. And they are called, respectively, Soul Eater 1, Soul Eater 2, Soul Eater 3.
Really?
Yep. Even though I am tempted to change their names to Soul Eater the 1st, Soul Eater the 2nd, and Soul Eater the 3rd.
It's a whole family lineage.
Yeah, and they all devour monster souls.
Its name is Magnamalo. And sorry, I don't know. Like the first part's in my head, the last part wasn't. And this not the first time we've had a Fanged Wyvern as a flagship monster. Zenoga, the first Fanged Wyvern we ever got, is also a flagship. My favorite monster, incidentally, and we got introduced to a few of the other monsters, but that doesn't really matter because we have now doggos. So some of the new features that they've introduced in this game is, first of all, you have your Palamate, which is your canine assistant, to go with your Palico, who's your feline assistant. When you're playing in single player, you have several of each that fit different roles. So you can have defensive ones, support ones, attack ones, and you can carry 2 interchangeably with you on hunts. And they announced right at the end of the presentation that when you play multiplayer, every player can have their Palamate or their Palico with them. So instead of 4 people in a hunt, you have 8.
Which is
8 characters.
Incredible. That
So
sounds incredibly unbalanced.
Which means some of these monsters are going to be busted.
Oh, easily.
I have no idea.
Especially if we're getting any clues from the story of what it is, a rampage.
Yes. I have my theories about that, but I'm going to have to reserve those for another time.
Definitely, especially as we get more information as well. We'll do more of these sorts of things as it sort of comes with guests from our Monster Hunter community.
We will get more information when TGS rolls around. TGS won't be too long. I think TGS is end of October or beginning of November, right about then. So we'll have more information by then.
Moving on to the second game, we have Monster.
Can I start? Can I start? Okay. Yeah. Dan's only realizing how good this game is now, but he doesn't know what he's in for. Like, he needs to go and get a Rajang and do its super move, and it's the most ridiculous thing he's ever seen. So one of the bets that we had a few months ago was, what was Capcom making? Many people, if you follow Monster Hunter players on YouTube that aren't me and Dan, they may have had this on their radar. Monster Hunter Stories 2. The Wings of Ruin, it is titled. It is the sequel to the originally mobile game that was released in Japan, later in the West, which Dan downloaded today.
I'm enjoying it already. I'm also, for fun fact, going to be posting on Twitter all of my monster nicknames, because my better half is naming them all for me. So I have no clue what the names are going to be. So they will all be on Twitter. So the Monster Hunter Stories was later ported to the 3DS. That was about 3 and a bit years ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to 4 years ago. Yeah,
and when I say the game itself is adorable as all heck, it's an understatement. The game is adorably cute. You take your capture monster kind of turn-based platform. You slap a bit of Monster Hunter coat on it. You take monster eggs and you raise them as allies that you use in battle. So you get. Oh, it's just adorable. Like seeing a cute baby Rajang with no horns is probably the best thing in that entire game, and then it grows up and it beats the living crap out of things for you.
I kind of want to see this. I need to see this.
Oh, get a Devil Joe. Trust me.
Oh,
Get a Devil Joe. When you get near the end of the game, get a Devil Joe. He will do the most for you. Honest to God, he will do the most for you. They've finally given us a sequel to this game, and I'm excited. Monster Hunter Stories, after 3DS, was a very big door. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, I don't know how I forgot this. So, the premise of Monster Hunter Stories is instead of being a hunter and you go out to the world and you hunt monsters, you play as the character his canon name in the manga, I believe, is Red.
Yeah,
Catchy, isn't it? Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar too. And he's part of a tribe of people who ride monsters instead of hunting them. They do this via what's called a kinship stone, which are related to giant crystals that are located throughout the world that are connected to this myth and legend. I'm not going to explain that here because there's no point. But in this new game, which takes place 100 years or so after the first game, you play as a descendant of Red, the previous character, and you inherit his kinship stone. And the whole premise that they gave us for this particular story is, for whatever reason, Rathalos, one of the main monsters in the Monster Hunter franchise, was actually the flagship for the first game, are going missing. And it's up to you and your Wyverian companion, which they show in the game. The Wyverians are the pointy-eared dragon people. Are set on a quest to find out what's going on with the Rathalos in the world. So they very much stacked the deck here, and it's been confirmed it's going to have full voice acting. In the DS port of the game, they use the Monster Hunter language. There is an actual canon language that they use in this game, which is phenomenal.
That. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can change the language settings in Monster Hunter World to change it to Monster Hunter language.
That's
So we're doing
wow.
at the moment, but whatever character you end up unlocking,
Wow.
I don't mind going back and
Okay,
forth
didn't know that.
challenges.
Learn something new every day.
Would you unlock them slowly?
Wow. Okay. Carry on.
If anyone sees a chest, they please let me know.
Which hopefully they will have the option to have the voice dialogue either in the Monster Hunter language in the new game or in English and Japanese, which they did with this one.
That's fine.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, Dan, but there's another Monster Hunter Stories game, but it's a spin-off game, and it's a gacha game on mobile, which I wouldn't say they just threw it out there just to see if it would catch on, but there's also a Stories manga, or Riders manga rather, sorry. It's Monster Hunter Riders. That's what the second mobile game is called.
And an anime.
And a manga for it. And an anime. Oh, can't forget that one. Oh, good. Oh, it's real good. So yeah, it wasn't hard to anticipate a sequel to Monster Hunter Stories and Monster Hunter the Riders universe as a whole, because they seem to have injected a lot into it. And when I say the game looks clean, the art style makes it look clean. It's kind of like kind of like Breath of the Wild, but a bit more solid on the line work.
Yeah, makes
and
sense.
it kind of has that little bit of shell shading, and very vibrant colors.
Interesting.
I just want to fly on a Rathalos again. That is just the dream. Oh, and have my gold queen back. I have to have my gold queen back. Oh, my gold Rathian. She saved my life in so many instances. She literally the only reason I beat Teostra in the post game was because of gold Rathian. She saved my bacon.
As a
Right,
post
go and
game?
grab her,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
and then you should be able to
I don't know if
pick
the
her up
post game's
through
in the
the
mobile
helicopter.
version, but it is on the DS version.
Just grab. No,
I think
just
it's an
pick her up.
enhanced version,
That's it.
the DS version, this version anyway.
I don't know if we're gonna
So,
make it. I think she should die before then. You haven't got time to rest her anyway.
which will be fun to see and everything, but that's something we can all look forward to is Monster
Yeah,
Hunter Stories
exactly.
2.
Sorry, we tried.
And I personally can't wait. Like, as someone that was fairly new to Monster Hunter when when World came out and everything, as a fledgling
I'm
hunter,
not gonna make it, but Rice can.
Monster Hunter Stories just really interests me because it's just more Monster Hunter, and I love that idea,
So close to the fucking edge of the circle.
and I cannot wait. On that note,
Yes, please.
we had the reveal for the PlayStation 5 price point.
I might
Yes,
move to
this
the
is
next
the people watching. This is the most important thing you're going to hear today. If you, for some reason, by now don't know what the price point is.
So we have the all digital version, which is £369,
land of water.
which is it's a very interesting price, isn't it? Like, that's like it's not as cheap as the Xbox Series S or whatever the fuck it's meant to be called, because it's a stupid
Series
name.
S.
It's such stupid naming, but then I'll get to that on a different episode. And then we have the physical edition, which I will be getting the physical edition because I love my collector's editions. And if I buy a disc with a collector's edition and I can't play it, then I'm just wasting money. And that is 450. It's 450, isn't it? Or 499? No, 449.
450.
No,
No,
Yeah.
449.
Yeah, something like that. Some silly thing. Price point. But that's £100 more expensive, basically. If you want to be Pacific, it's probably more like 80 quid.
Yeah.
But I
But I can
understand
explain
it.
to you why.
Go for it.
So part of this is information from our friend Chief, because it makes a lot of sense. So when you buy physical, the game is yours. Everything about the game is yours, unless something happens where your actual PS4, PS5 unit, for whatever reason, can't read the disc. The game is yours. There is no way that the company can take back the game from you.
Yeah. Okay.
That also means that you have the ability to lend the game to other people, which means they don't have to pay for it. Focus here is always money. They took that into sharp relief when they thought about how this works. So when you digitally download a game, one thing that loads of people always complain about is that you can't get refunds. But the company still has control over the title, and if for whatever reason you're in breach of any sort of contract that you bought into when buying it digital, they can take the game away from you. Which means it's not yours. You technically rent it from them. You bought it, you bought access to it, but there's still terms that allow them to take that away from you. The other thing is, obviously, because it's digital, you can't share the game unless you're down and you share your profile with another unit, which gives them access to your library. Because they're selling it through their own storefront, they make a larger percentage profit from it. So sometimes buying digital is cheaper, but sometimes it also isn't.
It all
Double-edged sword.
varies.
It varies quite a lot because the Sony as a company or Microsoft as a company have control of the storefront and the storefront prices. Even though the Xbox Series S is considerably cheaper than the Xbox Series X, which is money lost on one side, it's money gained through the selling and the inability to share digital titles. That's what it comes down to.
I'm going to interrupt you a little bit, Lan. Come to my room, because I think we should end this episode in my room when we talk about the final topic.
Yeah, I'm on my way.
Good. So the last thing
She just picked up a
I still want to talk about when it comes to the PlayStation 5, and I think it's very interesting, and it's basically Sony's answer to Game Pass.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the
I forgot about that.
PlayStation Plus collection.
Oh, they're giving you some juicy titles right there. Ooh,
And
ooh,
it's a very
lay it
good
on them.
selling point. It's a very
Lay
good
it on
selling
them,
point.
man. Lay it on them. Tell them the truth.
We're getting so much. We're getting God of War, Infamous. What else are we getting? We're getting so much. Persona 5 as well, which is a big one.
fact
I
they
wasn't
put Persona
expecting to
5
see
there.
that.
Bro,
It just
Persona
looks.
5 though.
It just looks absolutely incredible, and I'll be interested to see what else they add to it as well as they go along with it. Maybe this is potentially what they're going to replace PlayStation Now with, is the PlayStation Plus collection, which I think might be better than what the
From what
PlayStation Now is.
From what I understand, if you are a PlayStation subscriber, you get access to all of those games.
Yeah,
I don't know
which
if
is
I don't know if
genius.
it's for free because I would need to read up and clarify that, but they are essentially giving you those games, from how I understand it,
Yeah,
or giving you access to those games.
which I think
Most of
is
those
going
games
to
I already
be.
own.
I think it's going to be a big selling point from people that may be switching consoles.
So you can go ahead.
So, like for
If
instance,
they haven't played those games already.
yeah, like for instance, if they're going from Microsoft to Sony, because a lot of it's exclusives.
You have to climb in the funnels and ride the storm.
But that's a very interesting point that we'll leave you on. Is the PlayStation Plus collection? Google it. Have a look at the games I have on there because they have some hard hitters.
So you can go ahead and try and solo it.
Like that's quite a bold statement to sort of give. And Monster Hunter World is on that,
Yes, it is.
which is, I think it's been a PlayStation flagship game, to be fair. Which I can see why they've done that. But on that note, we will leave today's activities there. So this has been Press Square to Respawn team with your host Daniel the Ultimate Blade and
Land the Ultimate Form. Oh
And-
wow, they put Final Fantasy 15 on there too.
oh yeah, they put Final Fantasy. Did you not know that?
No. I ruined that outro so badly. I'm so sorry.
It's absolutely fine. That's the glory of a podcast. We're all informal here, which is good. But we will see you guys on the next episode, which will be most likely about the Tokyo Game Show, which will get out probably within a week of it happening.
And then jump
Maybe sooner if we can. You never know. I think the sooner the better. But like, comment, and subscribe for more. And don't forget to hit that notification bell and check out Landy Ultimate Forums channel in the description. But until then, this has been the Press Square to Respawn team, and we will see you guys next time.